for Africa. Hey, do it for Africa. Mama, mama, oh, le, mama. Oh, shake it for Africa.
Okay, our next speaker is actually a personal friend of mine, and he and I actually went to the same high school, which, you know, if you're from Uganda, it's called St. Mary's College Kisubi, best school in the country. Yeah, shameless plug. Okay, so again, I apologize. I can't memorize things to save my life. I'm going to read off what this great man has done. So he's a first-year Masters of Science in Biomedical Engineering student at Duke University from Uganda. In addition to being a die-hard African patriot, he's passionate about social entrepreneurship as an engine for social translation, especially for developing the world. He is currently designing a disruptive model for bandwidth use, particularly for the developing world for online education. For fun, he likes to dance and play rugby. He was also the captain of the Uganda under-19 rugby national team during the Confederation of Africa Rugby Tournament in Zimbabwe. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenneth Rubango.
Yeah, the introductions were very detailed. I don't think I'll go through that. Kenneth, I like to say that. And in this presentation, I'm going to make the case that education is the key for empowering Africans to partake in the ongoing computer revolution. I will go ahead and make the bold assertion that this is the most sustainable way that we need to solve the problems that are affecting Africa the most. So the goal here is to interest you in a project that I'm working on with Dr. Tyler Blesh, who is a professor in the Electrical and Computer Engineering Department at Duke University, to provide free education, free comprehensive education for Africa. I hope that I will interest you and form partnerships with you after this presentation. So in the late 17th century, a man, James Watt, a British innovator, actually improved the efficiency of the steam engine, thereby changing manufacturing as it was done until then. This single innovation in front of you on the slide changed the agriculture, industry, manufacturing, and the transport industry. And it revolutionized the way that we lived life since then. The main players in this industrial revolution were Britain. It was mostly Britain, but then the US took over. But Britain's colonies and her contemporaries took on the role of providing the free labor in terms of slavery that were to provide the raw materials to feed into the companies that were thriving at that time. Now, this is a sad part of our history, but we now are faced with a new age computer technology revolution that is ongoing now. And we now have the chance to take part in this to be able to solve the problems that are affecting Africa. At this point, I can book a room in a stranger's home, pay for it using electronic money, and get there using an Uber. I can also earn an MBA in a university in a different continent without ever having stepped on the university campus, thanks to online instruction. Now, all these services reach the people that they are intended to reach over the internet. And this important resource comes at a prohibitive cost to the typical African. Now, to put this into perspective, this phone right here which has, it's currently ubiquitous even on the African continent. One of the preceding speakers said how many people say that there are more phones than there is food on the African continent. And there is some truth in that. The smartphone is now ubiquitous, especially in the middle class, which is growing right now. This phone has more computing power than the combined computing power that the NASA engineers had when we sent the first man on the moon. The combined computing power, this phone has much more computing power than that. But on the African continent, typically, we are using this phone for social media, Facebook and WhatsApp, for the simple reason being that these social media apps get bandwidth subsidies. That's why WhatsApp and Facebook and social media are taking on. The telecom companies see that as something that is worth investing into to bring Africa on board in the technology revolution. And I'm here to challenge that. Well, I'm here to suggest something better for them to invest in. So to put the high cost of this bandwidth into better perspective, we got data from one of the world-leading cloud data services providers who pay for transit back-end internet, so that before they factor into the customer requirements to deliver this bandwidth. So this we know is much less than what the customer would pay, but it puts into perspective the disparities in the cost of bandwidth in the different regions. This data was normalized to the US and Europe, North America and Europe, so that an easy comparison can be made. As it is now, it was not factored into this that there are different income per capita for the different regions. So while the typical African would pay 14 times more for the same amount of bandwidth that the typical American would pay for, the pinch is much bigger in the average African's pocket because he has a much lower income per capita. He brings in much less money every day. So he has to get much more, in quotes, from his pocket to pay for this bandwidth. So this is what Dr. Tyler Blesh and I saw as a challenge that we could bypass so that we can remove that barrier of the expensive bandwidth that, that the people in the continent have to overcome, and then focus our energy on education, because education, we believe, is, as Horace Mayer said, the great equalizer of the standards of men. If we focus our effort here, we know that we can reach innovators, we can spur innovation in the health industry, in energy, climate change, water engineering, and at the basic level, the most basic level, whoever will get our education service will be able to get a decent job to be able to take care of their family. That's the least that we expect, you see. So this is where our motivation came. That's why we decided to focus on education rather than health, because if we focus on education, we can reach all the other avenues. So to do this, to get from our big idea, which I'm yet to present, to the high social impact that we plan to attain, we will use partnerships between technical firms, particularly engineering design, and we will get our idea to a market-ready product using their services, and then we will take this market-ready product to the market using business development skills. Now, I'd like to take a moment here to tell you a personal experience of mine in my undergrad. I did biomedical engineering in Makerere University, and as a biomedical engineer, you are required to take design courses. In these design courses, being a biomedical engineer, you design solutions for the healthcare industry. So in the medical school that I studied in, we had attached the National Referral Hospital. Now, being the National Referral Hospital, it was very packed, and there are many a resource that were not really enough. So we had to take it upon us as biomedical engineers to try and solve the solution and solve the problems that we were seeing. A specific project came to heart, and this was trying to improve the delivery of oxygen to the different patients. The problem then, at the time, was that one oxygen cylinder was being used for different, to provide oxygen to different patients. And the doctors having no other choice were piercing syringes into a saline bottle, which is like a plastic bottle, and then connecting it to plastic tubing to the patient, to different patients. This was something that was very risky. It's possible that one of the patients could not be receiving oxygen. But the doctors had nothing to do about this because they could not let someone die just like that. I took on this project with a team, and we designed a solution for it that actually won an award that was funded by the Consortium for Affordable Medical Technologies and MIT. It won the highest clinical impact award. Now that's cool, right? You'd think now that the patients are going to get this product. Unfortunately, that was the end. That project is shelved right now. So I'm trying to show you, I'm trying to make the case that we need business development to be able to take these innovations to the market. And a preceding presenter showed us Ugandans that are, and a Nigerian that are doing great things. But for some reason, we do not see these innovations making the change that we see them do when we put them on our slides. In the hospital, we do not see these different innovations actually showing up. And something is wrong. When you see that, you know something is wrong. Business development is something we should not take lightly as engineers, as innovators. That's a strong point. So now on to our solution. I've really primed you to this big moment, and here we are. Assuming you're this middle-class guy in Africa with access to a smartphone, a laptop, or a tablet, and you want to improve your grades in school by getting another resource because the school resources are not enough. But then you know that bandwidth is too expensive. It's prohibitive. You could also be this guy that is just looking to learn a new skill. Let's say computer programming or website development. You've seen that young children in Europe or in the Silicon Valley are designing websites that grow to become billion-dollar worth websites. And now you want to try and take your piece of the cake. You would buy our device, which would be like close to this size. It would be simply, in essence, a modem that allows you to access, that allows you exclusive access to our education suite. So if you try to use our device to go to YouTube, it will not work, right? It will not work. But it will only work, it will give you, it will only work if you're trying to access our education suite. Now, this education suite, what makes it special? In this education suite, we will have we'll have education content that has been customized per national curriculum. In Africa, many countries have national curricula that the students take and do national exams. They sit for national exams. It's different here, I've come to find. So it's, if you made a cache of resources, it would easily be scalable to every child in that country, at least. Yes. This suite would also have test and grading software so that you can actually do practice tests and get an instant mark. It would also be like Piazza and Sakai combined. It will allow you to actually interact with a tutor or your colleagues, all this without requiring bandwidth. And on paper, I would like to tell you this, working with Professor Blesh, this works. On paper, this works. That's why I said I'm here to interest you in this so that we can make partnerships, so that we see this evolve to the market. So you would also get free online books. You would have an e-library that you would use to be able to do your research to help you in your schoolwork. Now, the cherry on top really is all these two, the bottom two, working hand in hand to allow us partner with local institutions so that we can reduce the cost of comprehensive 21st century quality education by using economies of scale and scope. In red is the main innovation here. It is what is taking us to our customer. So we really need to get this right if we are to reach the top. So we know that this bandwidth, I'm sure you may have been wondering, how do you do this? Someone has got to pay for this bandwidth. And that's why this slide is here. We are trying to also innovatively use a rather unique business model. And this will depend on non-profit money. Yeah, we will depend on that for the first year, or investors money, so that we can go through the first year during which we will not have gained popularity. But after the first year, because we expect this site to be even more popular than social media, for the simple reason being that we all of us here went to school. I can make that assumption boldly. We all went to school, and you had to take those classes. So unlike social media, where you decide to post that picture when you had your good side of your face showing, you would have to sign into our system to take those classes. So we'd have a loyal following of customers on our website. And this, we hope, will translate into advertising space that we can sell so that we can make this self-sustainment. That is the beauty of this business model. In the first year, we will need to depend on give-outs and investments. But in the second year, from the second year onwards, we hope that by that time, we'll have attained self-sustenance in every country, in each country. Yeah. So one of our main expenses will be apart from paying the bandwidth, will be on spending on building this education content. The content is there, but it is not specified. I don't know whether that really speaks out to you. The algebra that I would take if I take a Coursera course may not be 100% helpful for my national examination because of the different requirements in coverage. You understand? Yeah, so we need to customize this content, and we will need to be spending money there. Apart from that, we will use telecom companies to sell our devices. These devices will allow exclusive access at no extra cost, because we're trying to get as much as possible infiltration into the market so that we can make a cogent case when you're selling our ad space to the companies. So this is what I think the internet providers should be giving subsidies. Not that social media is bad, but if we come up with this, maybe we can also make that case that we can have this subsidized. So how this all fits into our grand plan is using this free internet connectivity to drive a free online tutorial website, to drive traffic there, and breed a new generation of innovators who we also know will need business development expertise to be able to bring about the high social impact. This is how we plan on solving the health and climate change and poverty, and yeah, this is the connection to that slide. That's why I said I'll make that bold assertion. So we need to partner with you if you are a software engineer or a network engineer that has a few hours per week to offer on a non-profit basis. We also need to work with you if you're a philanthropist or you have connections and you are an influencer in a non-profit to actually get funding, especially for that first year when we'll need to pay for that bandwidth before we've infiltrated the market. If you're also in the legal business all in the business development business. We need to work with you to be able to translate this innovation to the market. We have seen that there are many good innovations on paper that just don't make it to the market, and that's very important, translation to the market. If you are in touch or have contacts with online education site developers, those people who have good content, we need to partner with you so that we find a way of reaching out to a market that has not been reached by their content. If you decide to join hands with us, which we hope that you do, Duke University Biomedical Engineering program has offered to work closely with us so that your contribution in whatever capacity it is that comes to fruition. So we have Duke Biomedical Engineering's backing, and with this we believe that we'll have accountability for whatever resource you avail us. So if you are that kind of guy who has been impressed and you want to work with us, your spot on the dream team is actually replaced. There's a seat filler, it's called emoji, right there. Yeah, that's your seat filler. We're waiting to meet with you. I'm looking forward to that cocktail when I'll get to talk to you. And yes. Yeah, but as you can tell, our team is growing. It's growing. In set is Professor Tyler Blecht, the one that I've been working with very closely. He couldn't make it today, unfortunately, because he was away. But then I'm working with him, and that's me, Kenneth Rubango, the first-year biomedical engineering student. And we are supported by the Duke Biomedical Engineering program, represented by Dr. Fan Yuan, who is the coordinator for the Masters of Science program. In conclusion, I've said too much. I'd like to leave you with something that I've captured from one of the most popular speeches of 2016. It was given by a gentleman called Donovan Livingstone on the Harvard University graduation day for the School of Education. In his all-inspiring speech, I will not quote him verbatim, but he said, he speaks of how we tell our students that education is the key while we continue to change the locks. And I say to you that if me and you work together, we can replace that obsolete key that many an African child is getting from their education with one that evolves with industry. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kenneth, for that talk. And I just have one question. Was that your good side in that picture? I'm joking. But thank you so much. That was really good. And are there any questions, please?
Thank you.
Any questions for Kenneth? Please. Please use your mic.
Sorry about that. My name is Ikena Odinaka, and I'm a postdoc in ECE. Kenneth, excellent talk. I wanted to, so you made mention that the technology that they would have access to cannot be somehow used or hacked for use with social media, but somehow it will be tailored